I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence, then let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, I to stay on the go. I can play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me, then I double up again, none of their nose. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence, then let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, I to stay on the go. I can play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me, then I double up again, none of their nose. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost.
What is going on, everybody? How's it going? Hey, Laura, Justin, it's good to see you already up in the chat. How's it going? So as you can see, your boy's flying solo today, ladies and gentlemen. Coach could not be here. He's out handling some other biz, so you got your boy Dev today. So a lot of you are probably thinking to yourselves, well, what the hell is Dev going to talk about for an hour? What is he going to do? So today, I have prepared some videos that we are going to react to, both of which are from PragerU. One of them has come from a friend of mine who I was going to do this review as a video personal to my own personal YouTube channel. But what happened was, well, I had the material and I thought, hey, why not? Let's talk about bridging the gap. Let's talk about the environment on today's show because, well, we usually talk about race things, and we'll get to race things today, but for the most part here, we're going to try and stick to the environment. Justin, what's that? He says he's on a date with Sarah. He might be. I don't know. We were joking about that, the video shoot, which, by the way, hey, guys, we're going to have a new intro coming out here soon. Me and Coach sat down, and we went and filmed, and we got a dope new intro to the show that's coming out. I can't tell you when because I'm slammed with video editing work right now, but it will be coming. So stay tuned for that. All right, without further ado, so let's get into this. Now, I have to pull up a script here because I'm not going to lie to you guys. I went ahead and I reviewed this video quite a long time ago. Not really quite long. It's like last week I started writing a script for this that I was going to do for my personal channel. But regardless, all right, let's get into it.
I hate clean air and water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much companies pollute rivers and streams. I don't even like trees. I just care about tax cuts.
Wow, this video over. Video over, guys. I don't have to say anymore. Conservatives, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Who am I? Well, that's easy. I'm a conservative. Or at least I'm a progressive caricature of a conservative.
Oh boy.
But the caricature is absurd on its face.
Okay.
Conservatives breathe the same air and drink the same water environmentalists do.
Okay.
Conservatives love taking their kids to the same national parks.
Okay, so already here's something that we're gonna see here. So no one is arguing that conservatives don't like nature and going on hikes and going to the park. Like that's not the issue. The problem with conservatives is that right now we are facing a global crisis when it comes to the changing of our climate and man-made climate control, as well as pollution, as well as various other things that are, well, human-made problems in our environment. And the problem with conservatives is that, well, their voting base anyway, the people they vote for don't care about the environment. They care about the tax cuts. Now, again, you enjoy the park and you enjoy all these places. I don't disagree with that. I'm sure you do. Coach, what's going on? I'm glad you're here. I'm sure you do. I'm sure that you enjoy all of those things. The problem is you vote for people that don't care about the environment and say that climate change is a hoax. I mean, I could pull up statistics. Let me pull some up here for you. So, for example, a Yale study of some 1,278 people showed that 40% of conservative Republicans believe in climate change, along with only 68% of conservative Democrats. Of the people polled that were registered voters, only 26% of the conservative Republicans believe in man-made climate change. So again, these are causes for concern among the conservative party. So let's go ahead, let's keep moving, let's see what this guy has to say.
Environmentalists do. In fact, the whole idea of national parks was created by a Republican, Ulysses Grant. The park system was greatly expanded by another Republican, Teddy Roosevelt. And the Environmental Protection Agency was, yes, established by a Republican.
Yeah, okay, so again, all of these things are established by conservatives. Great, I don't have a problem with that. That's not my issue. Now, nowadays we have the EPA and all these things, although they have been defunded by people in the conservative power, the executive branch, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, not going to say his name. So regardless, we're going to keep it moving, but I sense a bait and switch coming.
Richard Nixon. He liked clean air too. Conservatives want to conserve things. It's right there in the name. And one of the things we want to conserve is our environment.
I already made this point, but basically, yeah, I mean, they want to conserve things. They want to keep things the same. And again, we'll find out why that's a problem.
Because you can't have a healthy community without a healthy natural environment. That wasn't even hard for me to say. Because I believe it.
Who talks like that? Who seriously talks like that? Okay, so this guy's like, hey, I believe in the good of the environment. And I believe it. I believe that. The funny thing is, right, let me see, what do you guys talk about in the comments? But couldn't we just have tax cuts and care about the environment? A happy medium. Yeah, I'm agree. Like, that's what I'm saying. Coach said he's taking her to the pig roast. What was I going to say? Yeah, no, I agree. We can have tax cuts. But at the same time, there's also going to be the raising in taxes because, well, government programs that you're going to need and whatnot. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that later in this video. But where was I at? This guy, oh yeah, he's saying, why does he talk like this? So, for instance, say like, I don't think people should rape people. And I say that because I believe it. Like, when you say that, it makes me think that you don't believe it. These are things that are just naturally incumbent. You should just be like, oh, yeah, don't rape people. Yeah, we should probably care about the environment. You don't have to retort that you believe and care on the environment, about the environment. You don't have my trust. That's all I'm going to say to you, Mr. What's this guy's name again? He has his own podcast or something, I'm sure. Interesting. Why can't I find his name? I'm sure he said at the beginning of the video. Let's pan on back here. Michael. That's it, Michael.
Conservatives love the environment every bit as much as environmentalists do. The question is, what is the best way to protect it? And here's where we have big differences.
Right.
The environmentalists say the best way, the only way, is through massive federal and even international regulations.
Now, this is what I mean by the hypocrisy here. Okay, so I got my script up here. So he's saying that, massive federal and international regulations are an issue, right? Oh my goodness gracious. But the problem is with this is that he just earlier said about Richard Nixon, Ulysses S. Grant, and Roosevelt all implementing changes throughout the government. Now, we could go through here through a couple of these things. If you want to talk about international legislation, right? This was something that was passed. Let's talk about the Montreal Protocol. It is said to have prevented 15 million cases of skin cancer, 330,000 cancer deaths, and 129 million cases of cataracts. Not to mention, it is preventing estimates of 11 billion tons of CO2 from entering the atmosphere, which saw pushback from, you guessed it, corporations that called this all science fiction because it was the aerosol companies, the companies like Axe and the spray deodorants and all that jazz that were like, well, I don't want to do that. Because it was going to cost them money. Right? And sometimes for us to better the environment, we have to make, as a government, changes and regulations. It's just how it goes. And you're going to sit here and cite Richard Nixon for founding the EPA, which is a big piece of legislation for What's that, Isaac? Money won't matter if the world burns around us. Amen, brother. Amen. But regardless, yeah, I mean, Richard Nixon passed a bunch of laws to further the agenda of bettering the environment. Now, he was bad at pretty much everything else, and we could have a different episode about Richard Nixon, but again, I don't see, like, this is the point. He's going to try and make a false dichotomy, even though he just cited people that made massive federal and international regulations on helping the environment.
Conservatives say the best way to protect the environment is by protecting property rights and encouraging innovation.
How does protecting property rights help the environment? How does protecting property rights help the environment? Now, I had to go look this up. So there's a guy, I can't remember his last name. What was it? Course? Let me go look and see here. Ronald Coase, my apologies. He proposed that this could work by incorporating the cost from externalities or, okay, it's a big word, but we're going to put it to you guys in simple terms. So say you have like a cornfield, right? And right across the street, there's a guy who has a bee farm. And the bees come over and they pollinate. They have private businesses like right across the street from each other, but the owning of their own private property somehow helps the environment. All right, well, that's great. You know, on paper, that sounds fantastic because now we have these two people who own private land, they own their private businesses, and they're working with each other to help support the environment. Problem is, in reality land, right? Let's talk about reality land for a minute. The biggest emitters of CO2 in this country is our transportation system. And we're not just talking about like the everyday person who's driving back and forth to work. One of the biggest problems that we have is that a lot of our shipping and moving things around in this country is completely and utterly dependent on vehicles, large trucks, tractors, trailers, planes, all kinds of things, moving things all across the country at expert speeds, right? You know, very fast. And the problem with that is that no company is going to get rid of these systems that are harming the environment because of profit margins. I mean, and truth be told, because of the lack of innovation that we're having, because there is no legislation to encourage such innovation, no company's going to make that happen very soon or rapidly. So there is no encouraging of innovation here, just the again, ever-growing lines of profits.
Safer, more efficient power, nuclear, geothermal, biomass, anything that generates energy at a price consumers want and can afford to pay. To the extent that...
Now, see, here's something funny. So, again, he's basically saying let the free market decide. Let the free market decide about the environment. Well, left up to the free market, I hate to break it to you, people don't give a crap. They're going to pick, if someone has to pick between eating and toilet paper this afternoon and the environment, they're going to pick eating and toilet paper. You can't just let people buying things decide what's going to help the environment. Again, we're talking about energy providers. This is a big cause for concern as well. Most people can't choose their energy provider. Like who I have right now, like for people in Pennsylvania and whatnot, you might have Penelec, right? Penelec Electrical. That's who you have. And there's nothing you can do about it. You don't get to choose who provides your energy. Whoever provides your energy around here, that's who you got. However, by whatever means they produce that energy, that is the way that you consume it. So how are we supposed to make free market choices? There are no free market choices. Your energy companies, there's 200 options in this entire country, and that's it. You get who you have in that area to provide your energy. Simple as that. So again, how are we going to make changes in the free market when we don't have those options available? Hey, if anybody's out there in the chat, hey, leave me some love. Listen, guys, I am carrying the show by myself today, and I don't want to get on a tirade. Tell me what you're thinking in the chat. I love y'all. I hope you're having a great day. Smash the like button. Do something crazy. All that jazz. Yeah. All right, so let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rocking. All right.
Government gets involved in conservation, say protecting wildlife. It should get involved at the most local level possible, since the farmer, forester, or fisherman in Oregon knows a lot more about his environment than some bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. or Brussels. So how can we tell which way works best?
All right, so here's a great thing. So what did Justin Gower say? Well, in all fairness, we do need to eat and wipe our ass. Just saying, going back to your previous statement, companies cannot reduce transportation. They actually can. There's several ways that we can do this while using energy that is more efficient. It would be bold and innovative. Again, this video will later talk about the Green New Deal, using forms of transportation, mag-levy trains and all kinds of different futuristic ideas of transportation. And again, renewable energy, incentivizing that as much as possible. Again, we have all these breakneck, fast-paced, here, get it at my house in 5 minutes or else I don't want it kind of mentality. And that's what the free market does. And you know, I don't, and I think that might be a change in reform too, as like, say, companies like Amazon. How are we going to do that? I'm not sure, because companies like Amazon have a big monopoly in the pockets of a lot of people. But, you know, could we get it to where we're like, hey man, maybe it doesn't have to be at my house tomorrow. Maybe it doesn't have to be at my house the very next day or 2 days from now. And instead, lowering down the level of transportation, maybe upping public transportation or several other things. Now, again, during a pandemic, that might be something hard to accomplish and talk about. But again, it is something that can be brought up. Isaac Russo, what do you say? Companies can use the railroad, which needs to be revamped anyway. Lots of jobs can come out of that and infrastructure increase. Agreed. A lot of jobs can be brought out by reforming the infrastructure and the transportation system we have in America. Now, here's what I wanted to get to. Now, this is something that I think is so annoying. So here they come in, they say, hold on, let me rewind it just so you guys hear it again. Just this last part.
Local level possible, since the farmer, forester, or fisherman in Oregon knows a lot more about his environment than some bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. or Brussels.
Now, here's the stupid thing that this stupid argument just made. So again, this is appealing to the people that are watching the video, because I'm sure they're just like a Jimmy here with his fishing rod or whatever. But the truth is, they're going to say, well, these people know more about their local environment. But the problem is, you're only looking at the small scale, because these bureaucrats, you know, they don't know anything. What do they know? What do the people in Congress know? Except for they're informed by scientists, you know, scientists that come to them and say, hey, you know, Senator of Ohio, you know, fracking is really hurting local water supplies right now. You know that, right? Yeah, we're having flammable water. That's a problem. That is a problem. And scientists are coming up saying, hey, Senator, hey, Congressman, hey, President, we're noticing that there is these studies that suggest that, you know, climate change is man-made, and it's being affected by our CO2 emissions in the atmosphere, Mr. President. But again, they don't know anything. Jimmy here with his fishing rod, because he goes outside more than maybe Candace over here, knows more. It's simply sad. It's just so sad and preposterous. Again, appealing to a demographic of people that they want, you know, that they're trying to pander to in these videos. Again, Democrats, Republicans, politicians in general should be informed by scientific opinion. And that's what these people know. It's a false dichotomy. Let me see here. I agree. In the ideal world, we would use trains, but it's our country built up enough to handle that much. No, Justin, I agree. And I think that you have to make those changes over time. I think that's what the Green New Deal was proposing, is that we make these changes incrementally over time. Like, we don't just straight up abandon fossil fuels. And we'll get to that here in a second. It absolutely is. We've got the lines laid out. We just need to maintain and invest in them. Big oil has done a lot to cripple the rail system in the U.S. That is kind of true. But wouldn't that involve raising taxes? Ooh, it would involve raising taxes. But, you know, we'll talk about that.
Washington, D.C. or Brussels. So how can we tell which way works best? Let's examine the historical record. Today, and for the last century, the worst environmental offenders have been big, repressive, socialist governments.
Now, they had to get their socialist propaganda in here because, you know, they're very against socialism. I'm going to let that slide.
This was true in the last century, and it's true now. China, for example, pumps roughly twice as much carbon into the air each year as the United States, even though the U.S. economy is almost 60% larger than China's.
Has not, that point right there is absolutely irrelevant. Why they want to bring in the U.S. economy? Are they saying because China pollutes more and then they're not buying as much, or their economy's not as large and as booming and as popping as America's? Regardless, I mean, America is the richest country in the world, so yeah, I would assume their economy would be larger. Now, here's the funny thing that they didn't really point out. So first off, America is number 2 in the world, right behind China, as being the largest emitter of CO2 emissions in the world. Second to China. Now, China makes up for like literally 60% of the world's global CO2 emissions. Horrible. Awful. Yeah, not good, right? Now, bear in mind, though, China is 4 times the size of America in population. America has the most CO2 emissions per capita. If America had as many people as China does, based only on our per capita rating, we would be just as bad, if not worse, than China in our CO2 emissions. But because we have a lesser population, of course, we're not going to contribute as much as China, not by a long shot. And to make this comparison is absolutely silly, in my opinion.
And how do those international agreements fare at protecting the environment? Not too well, it turns out. When President Trump announced his intention to pull the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accord, environmentalists warned of imminent disaster. Yet a year later, it turned out that the United States led the world in reducing carbon emissions.
Now, he's half right about this. Let me pull this up here. Okay, so you see, yeah, we did lead the world in cutting emissions. Oh, what did Justin say here? Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on here real quick. Yeah, so he's half right about this. You see, we did lead the world in cutting carbon emissions. However, what PragerU fails to tell you is that this is by a percentage. So if you are a country that produces 13% of all global CO2 emissions like America does, any slight change that you make is going to be larger than the countries that produce, say, 0.4% or what have you of the global CO2 emissions. Comparable to those countries. Now, let's get really sad. The sad part about this whole thing, right? Now, I went and actually looked at PragerU sources, and their sources contradict each other. One source says that the countries that they're about to cite here actually went up in CO2 emissions. Other one says that they actually went down, and that the statistic here that he's citing is actually from 2000 in relation to the year 2000 when America was at its peak. So again, this is kind of like fallacious in my opinion here. Let me go ahead and read you guys' comments. Isaac says, we could increase the tax rate over $1 million and it wouldn't hit middle or lower class at all. During the New Deal that brought us out of the Depression, millionaires were taxed at 90%. That gave us the greatest generation of massive personal wealth increases. So I can't speak on behalf of any viewers here. I'm 43 years old, married, 13 years with 2 kids. You would say we are middle class. It's expensive as shit to raise a family, home, purchase, college tuition, etc. I can't afford to be paying high taxes. Absolutely, you shouldn't have to. That burden is being carried by you and the money taken out of paychecks. I say let the millionaires and billionaires get the same amount taken from them. Yeah, I agree, Isaac. So to have these certain amount of money, and you know, Justin might disagree with the idea of the redistribution of wealth, and that's fine by him because, you know, he's a little bit higher on the tax bracket. But you have people that say that middle class in this country is $40,000. Think about that for a second. Middle class in this country is $40,000 a year. That's not a lot of money. What even is upper middle class? What even is that? I don't know the definitions, but whatever that is, somebody can leave in the comment section below. But regardless, we should think about, oh no, I don't want to raise these taxes so high that we couldn't possibly afford the changes that we need to make. Because the truth is, the people up top who are making all the damn money should be paying those higher taxes. Because we have companies like Google and so on and so forth that go across reduce emissions, hookers and coke. We never have to leave the house. Amen, brother. That's right, Justin's like, if we just have hookers and blow, we will never have to leave the house ever. Totally agree, Justin. 100% facts. You know what? Justin, pass the legislation. Where's my gavel? Bang it. Bang it. That's it. We don't need anything else. Episode's over. All right, guys. It was nice seeing you. No, I'm just playing. But regardless, guys, yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree.
It did so without surrendering its national sovereignty. Moreover, Canada, the EU, and China, all signatories to the Paris Accord, not only failed to live up to their commitments, but increased their annual carbon emissions. The EU released an additional 40 million tons of carbon dioxide into the air that year. China, a whopping 120 million additional tons.
See, now this is again misleading data. So you saw 40 million, 120 million tons, additional tons, and you're like, wow, those are huge numbers. But when you put that into perspective, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about perspective. Dev, write me in for 2020. I'll make it happen. What do you mean, like as the president? Yeah, man, totally. Your first I'll put you in. Of course. You're better than Joe Biden and Donald Trump right now. I'd definitely vote for you, Justin. Although it'd be kind of harsh, man. I feel like that'd be like a harsh thing to do, like, to be president. But I digress. It might even hurt your hooker status, man. Because, well, unless you like, you know, you get chummy with Clinton. Now, this is some math for you guys out there. I know everybody here probably loves math. Hey, everybody in the chat, how's it going? I love y'all. Leave a comment if you're here. Heart. I'll do a heart react or something. I don't know. So what was I going to say? So it's time for some math. So 120 million additional tons versus 40 million additional tons. Sound like big numbers, right? Now, when you consider that China is responsible for 9.3 billion tons of CO2 emissions annually, so 120 additional tons is literally 1.29% increase. Whereas the EU, 40 million tons is about a 0.57% increase. So these increases are so minuscule. And they were only, get this, from what the factors that were being stated was increases in carbon emissions due to, wait for it, unusual fluctuations in increased weather. Interesting.
all while wagging their fingers at Uncle Sam. Here's what you won't hear from your neighborhood Greenpeace volunteer. The left favors big government solutions not because it's better for the environment, but because it's better for leftism.
Now here he goes. He's gonna make a straw man. I smell it. I read somewhere that this whole stay-at-home thing actually reduced emissions. It did actually. Yeah, it was actually very good for the environment.
Take a look at the Green New Deal, an environmental proposal embraced by virtually every major progressive in America.
Wrong. See, this is a straw man. He said it's an environmental. It does contain environmental aspects, but the Green New Deal was about more than just the environment. It was about restructuring the infrastructure of America. The Green New Deal was about paying reparations to African Americans and other cultures that we subjugated in this country. It was about universal health care and medicine for everybody in this country. It was about way more than just environmentalism. So here he is. He's building a straw man, as we like to call it in the debate world, and then he's going to knock it down. Watch.
Forget for a moment the impracticality of a plan that would outlaw most forms of American energy and cost $93 trillion.
Now, here's where we're going to talk about taxes for just a minute. Okay. And also the first thing he said here. Outlaw most forms of American energy. He's being silly here. Absolutely, we could not. He's making it sound as if tomorrow, if the Green New Deal, bang, bang, there's the gavel, it's into existence now, this is legislation, you'd have to throw out your car because using gasoline would be illegal. That is not the case whatsoever. The Green New Deal proposes making environmental changes over the course of 10 years and eventually weaning ourselves off of fossil fuels and in favor of renewable energy. And he wants to make it sound like that's not the case, that if this was passed, then it would outlaw. We would not be able to use fossil fuels. It's just stupid on its face, as he said earlier in the video. And the cost is $93 trillion. Now, again, that is a huge number. But when you think about it in the terms of what would happen with that $93 trillion, maybe I'm just weird. I'm optimistic being someone who's younger, and I'm not like my boy Justin in the chat who's, 43, married with kids. But I feel like there's a level of optimism that one has to have when talking about raising the taxes for the betterment of society. Sure. What do you get for raising your taxes? Well, that's a great question. You get free universal health care, meaning that, yes, your taxes did pay for it. Doesn't mean it's free, technically speaking, but your taxes paid for the fact that nobody on this planet has to worry, in this country, has to worry about getting a checkup, going to the doctor, getting medicine that they need, treatment, whatever it is. Nobody has to worry about that. Isn't that a fantastic thing? I think so. What about the environment? All the jobs it would create and innovation. Also innovating, and remember those incentives that he said, incentivizing innovation? All the innovation it would push for people to make brand new ways, like I said, brand new ways of creating new sustainable energy. Think about that for a second. All the jobs it would make. It might help a little bit, just saying. And I have to agree, man. I have to agree that, yeah, 93 trillion is a big ticket, but it's worth it in the long run for not just our generation, not for the older generations, but for the generations after. Justin, think of your kids. I think they would benefit from it greatly.
Much of the proposal has nothing to do with the environment.
There's your straw man.
Socialized medicine, reparations for historical wrongs, and a jobs guarantee program are just a few of the items on its wish list. What do socialized medicine and reparations for slavery have to do with the environment? Well, nothing.
They don't.
But for supporters of the Green...
Although I would argue that having these things would make it better. Like the world itself would be a better place the environment be a better place. Like if you had people that had a job everywhere and they were able to provide for their families and contribute back to society. And of course, a lot of the plans that are in the Green New Deal, I think would make for a better world environment just because people would have a more positive attitude. Again, if you have people that aren't dirt poor or worried about the survivability, day-to-day life, etc., they're probably going to be a little bit nicer to the environment. Not just going to like toss a cup across the road and say, leave it. We got to get to your niece's quinceañera, and then I got to go to work for 60 hours this week or whatever. Isaac said it did, but unfortunately we're a nation of wage slaves, so we can't choose to do that on our own. And that's kind of true. Let me pull back up my script here.
Green New Deal, that's okay, because their primary goal is increasing government power well beyond anything we've ever seen in America. They need this power, presumably, to save us from ourselves.
Yeah, again, this is going to extend the increasing of government power, but that's not the end goal of the Green New Deal. That is not, like, again, this is why I hate the presentation of PragerU, because they want to make it this us versus them mentality. Increasing government power is not the end goal. It's just the means to get to the goal. But everyone has to be on board. That will never happen. My useless neighbor abuses the government assistance system, so people that work need to pick up their slack. I agree. It would be nice. Yeah, but I have to be honest with you. Statistically, Justin, statistically speaking, most people that are on welfare, for one, you have people that actually do work on the welfare system, like people that work at Walmart and whatnot, which Walmart actually has encouraged employees to get on the welfare system, which is a horrible, stupid, terrible thing. Instead of giving their employees benefits, they would say, no, seek welfare assistance. Yeah, we only want to keep you for part-time. You can seek welfare assistance while you're working here for, just short of 40 hours a week. Yeah, no problem. So again, these are the kind of things that we do have to think about. And I also want to again say that the number of people living off SSI and all that is, well, probably increased now due to COVID, and unemployment, but is usually relatively low in comparison to the greater scheme of the population. It's just that we like to look at that one or two people that are useless and pieces of garbage and just living off the system, because I know I live around them. I'm sure you do too. And say, they're going to ruin everything. And also too, because they're on the system, they leech so little. I mean, let's talk about tax spending for a minute. I mean, we spend so much money on the military that it's not even funny. For what? I mean, to pay out their pensions and everybody that's signed up to be in the military, I guess. But for what big cause? For what big war? Again, these are all things that I would have to ask myself. It just takes time and dedication. My useless neighbor was out on the porch as you read that. Did you like listen to me? Did you put up your microphone and did you let him hear my explanation? I hope so.
In contrast, conservatives are all about innovating our way to a cleaner environment without depriving anyone of their freedom. Mm-hmm. Take, for example, that monster of all green monsters, horizontal drilling for oil and gas.
I want you guys to know that the PragerU is funded and it gets a lot of money from big oil companies and fracking companies and fossil fuel industry to make these videos. I just want you to know that. So, of course, why wouldn't he come in here and try and tell you guys that fracking of all things is good for the environment? I'll listen to his point.
Also known as fracking. The left demonizes fracking even though it actually makes the environment cleaner, the country richer, and now independent of Middle Eastern oil.
Yeah, see, now here's how you can tell he doesn't care, that conservatives don't care about the environment, because this video is targeted at conservatives, and he had to list makes the environment cleaner, but he had to go, it makes the country richer and independent of Middle Eastern oil. Now, here's my thing. I get it. I would actually like if all three of these things were true, but the problem is your first premise is wrong, and the other two, why may be true, the first one's wrong. The point that you're trying to prove, because what he'll do here, go ahead.
Something thought impossible a decade ago. How does it make the environment cleaner? By releasing up to 50% less carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than coal.
Here's the beauty of it. So here's the bait and switch, guys. He's like, look at this, guys. 50% less carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. But did you know that fracking releases methane, which is, get this, guys, 14 times more potent and damaging to the air that we breathe than carbon dioxide. You know, there's studies that talk about cows, like all their farting, like having these big crops and full of cows and beef and whatnot, actually tearing up the atmosphere just because of their farts. So that's right. Justin, you know the person I'm talking about, the person who won't be named, would be very happy to eat all of those farts. Now, what can we do to further, what can I do rather to further my point? Again, more misleading information showing you that, yeah, 50% less carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, but again, the trade-off is at methane. And also, let's not even get started on your drinking water. You know, how many people have come forward with contaminated drinking water because the chemicals used for fracking have oozed into the water systems and the watersheds of America. So your well, the well that you dug, you know, the well that you paid someone thousands of dollars to dig in your backyard, gets contaminated with formaldehyde and various other chemicals. And not even talking about the fish that are killed and the oil spills that happen. Yeah, let's not even go into that. Yeah.
And since it's also cheaper, people are happy to buy it. Not because government forces them to, but because it saves them money. By the way, according to a Harvard study, fracking is safe and improving all the time.
That last part is very key. Fracking is safe and is improving all the time. Yeah, see, I went and then looked up said Harvard article. Which one is it here? Oh no, I must have deleted that link. Oh well, I was gonna pull it up, but actually there was a Harvard study that just came out in 2019, like, you know, just a year prior to this, that said that fracking is actually damaging the environment, and people in Ohio are learning about it, and it's pretty bad. And the part where you said improving all the time is funny because that's the point what they were trying to make in the article, is that fracking is safe, could be safe, and it's improving, but currently at the current way we do fracking right now is not safe or sustainable, and it's hurting the environment.
Yep, innovation that produces abundant, clean energy at a fair price without infringing on my freedom. That works for this conservative.
Yep, fair price. Again, it's all about money. That's it. That's all you have. It's about money. Hey guys, how's everybody doing in the chat? You look good. You look great. You look fantastic. Man, you've been working out? Shoot, look at you. Look at you. I don't even know who you are, but look at you. You look great.
You'd think it would work for anyone who cares about the environment and people. So let me repeat. I love clean air and water.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't own even a single share of Exxon. I'm Michael Knowles.
He doesn't own a single share. Yeah, you're right. Maybe he owns one in Chevron or you know, Chevron, which is actually the biggest fracking company, oil company in America. So maybe you own a share in there. You might be right, because based on all the information you've given me, you've told me half-truths this whole time and showed me misleading information. So you might have said, I don't even own a single share in Exxon. And then I look over and I could probably look up and see that you owned a share in Chevron or something like that. So I guess you would be right. You don't own one in Exxon, but you probably own one in Chevron.
Knowles, host of The Michael Knowles Show for Prager University. Thank.
And I love how one last time he had to bring out here that he loves clean air and water. Yeah. Everybody likes clean air and water, dude. What if I poured up a cup of water and someone's dick was in it? Their dirty, sweaty balls were in it, dude. What if dirty, sweaty, scummy balls were in my water? I like clean water. I like clean air. You know, I don't like when someone's like just coughing in my airspace or throwing tear gas. Yeah, I like clean air too, dude. What obvious points you would have to make? Like, that's like saying, like, again, hi, my name's Devin, and I don't like rape. Yeah, obviously. Nobody does, dude. Come on. Let's be real. Isaac says, it's a nice shirt, though. Thank you. I'll be popping right now. I'd be flattered, but it looks like you are wearing an American Eagle shirt. Oof. It is American Eagle. Dude, this shirt is from when I was in high school. Now, granted, that wasn't a very long time ago. You know, it was only like 6 years ago. Wow, 6 years. Well, no, 5? Was it 5? No, it's 5. 5 years ago. I was only in high school 5 years ago, but, you know, it's that old, man. Like, this shirt is like literally probably 6 or 7 years old. All right. Well, guys, that's the end of that video. Isaac, everybody out there in the chat, what did you guys think of this man's arguments? Clearly, conservatives are not the real environmentalists. I think environmentalists are the real environmentalists. Any person who's pushing policies and reform forward to better the environment, I would say are real environmentalists. Now, debating whether environmentalism is, the correct tactic and what we should be putting our focus on now in the world is completely up to you. I would argue that it's a big need, if not one of the most pressing needs in the world right now. But again, that decision is up to you. Yeah, it could be Under Armour. You're right. All right, so now we're gonna move over to another video of Miss Candace Owens here. Yep, that's me. I'm gonna go back here. So we're gonna go to a video and talk about Miss Candace Owens, talking about the black card. Now this video is old. It's a very old video, but it's not very old. It's from 2018, but I wanted to talk about it because Candace Owens has gained so much prevalence in the culture, talking about black issues and all kinds of different things. And I just think that fundamentally a lot of her arguments are wrong. And also I think Candace Owens is like a big hypocrite in my opinion. She's a huge, giant hypocrite. And I think we're going to expose that and talk about that here in this next video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments now. There's a habit, we just need to find it. Amen, brother. Talking heads, talking trash like usual. Yep, I agree. Well, they're also throwing it out there too, so. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this Candace Owens video, shall we? Playing the black card.
You've heard about the black card, right? No, not the one from Visa or American Express.
Holy shit, you're so funny. Good.
This one is much more valuable. There are entire organizations that have been built upon it, and individuals that have used it to acquire both wealth and influence.
This is so dog-whistly, it's not even funny. I mean, this lady might as well be petting the white supremacist nationalist dog. She might as well be petting it.
If this sounds like something you might wish to own, you should...
What businesses? I am curious. Hold on, guys. We're going to go on a little deep dive here. I am curious. Where are your sources at? Where are your sources at for this video? For students. Yeah, let me see. Where are your sources? Oh, wait, that's my Gmail. I don't want that. Join PragerU force? No. Where is it? Yeah, right here. The complete script. Give me the complete script. Where is it? Where are your sources? Give me your sources. Yep, facts and sources. Thank you. Many self-styled civil rights activists remain silent about major problems. Protesters in Ferguson, who acted to empower themselves. Okay. Protesters in Ferguson destroyed a black neighborhood in response. Okay. Left-wing Democrats court black votes to get elected. Okay. Candace Owens on how race has become a business. Okay. Related reading, black rednecks and white liberals. Okay. No, she has no example. She has no example that entire corporations were founded on the fact that someone was black. You got nothing. You made it up. Democrats regularly convince minorities. Nope, that's not it either. American left seeks to control black opinion and keep black voters. Nope, that's not it either. Some of the worst cities for black violence and education poverty are liberal Democrat. Nope, not that either. Among black families in which spouse full poverty rate is under 5%, yet blah, 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 blah. Nope, not it either. When black people don't agree with liberal Democrat positions, the left often label black people as Uncle Toms. Oh my goodness gracious. Nothing. You got nothing, Prager. No thanks. You got nothing. You got nothing. The welfare state undermines families by incentivizing single parenthood. It has particularly hurt black communities. Gee? Hey, Zeus.
You've heard about the black card.
That's
right.
Fine. If you want porn to come up, man, hey man, we can have a private stream if you'd like. I'm just playing, but with all seriousness, let's get back to this video. So yeah, so she has no proof. She just made a claim with no proof. She doesn't have a cited source in their own video that corporations were founded by saying I was black. No, there was no evidence of it. You know why? Because it's not true. Yep.
Should know that there is only one way you can get your hands on it. You have to be born with black skin.
You have to be born with black skin to get the black card, everybody. You have to be born with black skin to get the black card. Get it? Candace, I don't get it. You have the black card. Why are you mad?
That's the only requirement. Really. You can be poor, middle class, rich, it doesn't matter. The black card will still confer upon you an entire history of oppression, even if you've never been oppressed.
I think that, so here's the fundamental thing. Now, of course, I'm without Coach today, so, this is going to be a white guy making arguments for the black community. Getting a little dicey over here, a little dicey. But if you're black, I feel as if you're in this country as well, unless you came here from Swahili or somewhere over in Africa, you have a right, I think, to feel a little oppressed because statistically speaking, things for you are just harder. They're just harder for you because of the background you came up from. Again, black people have been trying to build generational wealth from literally, just think about this, like 50 years ago, we were still dealing with racial laws in the society, and we still are today. Less so, we're making progress, but we still are. So again, you can be oppressed, and technically, I think black people still are oppressed by at least the judicial system. At least the judicial system.
Flash the black card and most white people will cower.
No. You see, you can see, I mean, yeah, you might have white people that cower whenever someone says, what does that mean? I'm black. But you can look someone in the face and tell them what the root of their argument is fallacious, or that they aren't making any sense, or that they have no right to believe a certain thing, and then just say, oh, it's because I'm black, isn't it? We can debate that. It's called debate. It's called conversation. Again, if you have that power and if you know what you're talking about, I don't think you should just cower in fear because someone says they're black. But Candace Owens thinks so. Because Candace Owens, this is the beauty of Candace Owens, this is what I love about her. She is using the black card, but she just doesn't know it because she is a grifter. She has sold her black card to the Conservative Party to make points for them, to that way then, for all the people out there that have maybe kind of sort of racist biases, to go, oh, it's okay if I have these. It's okay because Candace Owens is a black woman and she thinks the same way I do. Yeah, I agree, Justin. What points are you trying to make? Everybody in the chat, what's up? How you doing? Love y'all. Hey, comment below my shirt. How you doing? Are you living your best life today on Monday? You know, how's things hanging?
Play the black card expertly and you can win awards, make millions, all the while claiming that the people who got you there somehow hate you.
No. Again, you have no citation. Again, Justin, you were here. People in the chat, you were here. We looked through your sources. You had no source that somebody went from rags to riches because they were like, I'm black. But you know what? I know someone who has gone from rags to riches, and she will admit it in this video. And guess who it is, guys? Candace Owens. But this point here, I do want to make a point about this. What did she say? The people who got you there somehow hate you. Are you saying that the people that were in power, that had the generational wealth, maybe say, I don't know, white people, maybe made it a little hard for you to get there, and that, you know, you should be grateful that they gave you a position that you earned? I don't know. Candace, that sounds a lot like your situation.
With a black card, you can sell books full of indecipherable prose.
Indecipherable what? What? What the fuck is she talking? What is a prose? What's prose? You know, guys, I have a pretty big vocabulary, as you can tell, but I have no idea. What is prose? An ordinary language people use in speaking or writing is a form of or technique of language that exhibits a natural flow of speech and grammatical structure. Okay, so she's saying if you're black, you can write a book about grammatically correct but indecipherable text. Okay.
Because with a card that powerful, who cares if your words make any sense?
What are you saying, that because you're black, people just write books that make no sense? Is that your argument? Is that your argument, really? Well, black people can make money from writing books that don't mean anything. Listen, I can find you right now on Barnes & Noble. I have so many friends and so many people I know that have written books, okay, about nonsense. I mean, what are you Harry Potter's nonsense? Are people not allowed to make money off books for writing about nonsense? Things that have no real world application? Oh my God. Justin's like, all right, guys, I gotta go. Taking the kids to Dairy Queen. Good job flying solo. Tell Coach to make sure he wears protection and watch out for those farts. Later. Have a good one, Justin. We'll see you around. Unbelievable.
You can call yourself a civil rights leader and shake down multinational corporations, or you can...
Oh, boo-hoo, the multinational corporations. Because the beauty of it is, so say you got these political advocacy groups, right? Here they are. They're trying to play victim, but they're winning. Big corporations are always winning, guys, because these political advocacy groups come up to you and they say, hey, we want you to pay money for this cause. And they say, okay, we're going to make a donation. And then they make a donation and it's tax deductible. And then guess what? The corporation still makes its money back. Yeah, like it's so fallacious. Like this is all BS. This is all BS. This is pandering. Again, woe is me, big corporations, woe is me.
Torch your own neighborhood because you didn't like the outcome of a grand jury verdict. Ironically, the people you might think have the most legitimate claim to the black card refuse to use it.
Wow. Hold on, guys. Hey, you have a legitimate use of the black card, but you refuse to use it. That's great. You have you have a justification for feeling like you or your ancestors were oppressed, and you know what? You refuse to use it. Good for you. Good for you. See what I mean? This is garbage. This is caca.
Take my grandfather, for instance. He raised me from the time I was 9 years old. Born in 1941 in rural North Carolina, he started working at age 5, laying out tobacco to dry on a sharecropping farm. Jim Crow, separate drinking fountains, and the KKK were ever-present realities. He was 17 when he married my grandmother. He made a living cleaning homes and office buildings and...
I need to stop right here. So she's going to make... I'm guessing that the moral of the story is that he was successful. And the reason why he was successful has to do with... excuse me, I'm trying to film a video here, Mr. Personal Foiler. Goodness gracious. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So the argument here is going to be that look at my black grandpa who grew up with all those things, and he turned out all right. That's great. But don't you think it would just be easier if maybe those societal pressures didn't exist around him? Like, good job. He persevered through all those things. Because at the end of the day, that's what you have to do anyway. No, Tiana, that's what I mean. She can't be serious, but she is. She's 100% serious. And she's going to say, well, my grandpappy, he made a living for himself. But yeah, of course, people are going to keep moving on and living their lives regardless of the racial pressures around them exist or not because they have no choice. If they want a better life, they're going to have to fucking work for it. Dummy. Goodness.
Until he saved up enough money to open his own cleaning business.
Yeah.
The thing is, he never played any card.
Crazy, right? Because, you know what's funny is, probably back when your grandfather was alive, you couldn't even really play the black card because most people probably didn't sympathize with you. You couldn't just say, well, it's because I'm black. You didn't have so many sympathizers probably back then when your grandfather was growing up. So, again, irrelevant.
Nor did my grandmother. If they had problems, they didn't blame anybody. They just fixed them.
Yeah, I agree that we all want to go out and we want to fix our problems. I agree. I agree, Candace. I agree. But the problem is that there is a problem. And if there's a way that as a society, as a government, we can remedy that problem or fix that problem, then maybe we should fix it. Hey, everybody in the chat, how's it going? Maybe we should fix it. Huh? Maybe we should fix that problem as a society and not just saying like, oh, well, we can't do anything about, racist cops. Guess we'll just have to deal with it.
And they raised me to do the same.
Wow. Little Candace Owens.
Chores were a requirement in their household. So was reading the Bible every morning before school.
Find me. For one, I can show you white and black families that don't make their kids do chores and don't read the Bible. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm failing to see your argument here. Are you saying that black families don't give their kids discipline? Candace, is that what you're saying?
I didn't like the Bible readings, and I hated the chores.
Oh, you didn't
but I
like
realize
it, I know.
now that these small acts of discipline, although sometimes stifling, had a strong, positive impact on my character.
Yeah, discipline has a strong positive impact on character, yeah.
I was a first-generation college student.
Oh, here we go.
This was supposed to be the ticket to prosperity. But
yeah, well, Candace, we can agree that college isn't always the ticket to prosperity. Because college is basically a machine now to put people in debt. That's what it's for. It's to enslave you to the banks. But go ahead.
But it wasn't. I left college with a mountain of debt and no practical skills.
Right on, Tiana. Right on. Why? We don't have to force religion down nobody. That's their thing, though, Tiana. This is PragerU we're talking about. This is PragerU. PragerU is like this big Christian conservative, oil-funded, white supremacist, yes, white supremacist, I will even dare to say that, funded talking show, basically. Because Candace Owens is a dog whistler for white nationalism and for white supremacy.
I had just $80 in my bank account and very few prospects. I could have given up. I could have dug deep into my history and declared myself a natural product of ancestral oppression. I could have played the black card and absolved myself of all responsibility for my own stupid decisions.
She's about to do it, guys.
Except I didn't.
Oh, she did, guys. Hey, guys, everybody out in the chat right now. F in the chat. She just said she didn't play her black card. And I'm going to explain to you why Candace Owens, she in fact did play her black card.
Because it would have destroyed my grandfather's legacy.
That's why, yep.
I am proud that he had the fortitude to turn nothing into something, and I have no intention of reversing that something back into a nothing.
Yep.
My attitude comes with a
What did you do, though?
price, however.
What did you do?
Because if you are born black and you don't accept your natural status as a victim, then the validity of your
What did you do, though, Candace? What did you do?
blackness is immediately called into question.
What did she do? What did you do?
Well, so be it.
What did you do? What did you do?
If believing in myself, if accepting the responsibility for my failures somehow disqualifies me from owning an imaginary card, then let me be the first to declare that I don't want one.
Oh, Candace. Okay, so let's break this down. Everybody, I love y'all. I just want everybody to know that's watching this. I love y'all. Even if there's like 1 of you or 7 of you, I love y'all. Now, Candace Owens is a dirty money grifter. What she did with her black card was different. See, she did what Jesse Lee Peterson did. She took her black card and said, because here's the thing, guys. If Candace Owens was white, saying the things she's saying right now, nobody would give 2 shits. What she did after college, instead of working hard in the profession she studied for and all these different things, which, by the way, what is Candace Owens' degree, everybody? Let's look up, let's go look up Google. What is Candace Owens' degree? What is Candace Owens' degree? What is her degree? Does she have a degree? Education, 2007. While a 17-year-old senior high school, pursued undergraduate in journalism. Oh, she was a journalist. Afterwards, she worked as an intern for Vogue, and then she took a job as administrative assistant for a prime equity firm in Manhattan. Yeah, so her rise to fame came from, guys, her YouTube videos. Her one was about white guilt, and that's what catapulted her to the top. Because what she did is she saw the reaction she got, like, wow, like who cares about, like, white people shouldn't feel guilty. And that's a great thing. No, as a white person, you shouldn't feel guilty for the color of your skin. You shouldn't feel guilty because you had nothing. Some people like myself had nothing to do with racism, or not racism, but slavery and all that. And we don't advocate for it. But we want to help our fellow citizens and black people get to a better place, right? Because I look at people in the world as a global community. I love black people. I love all people, any kind of people. I love people. And so white guilt is a thing that's bad. So Candace Owens made a good video on that. But what happened was there must have been someone who saw, hey, Candace, if you make these conservative talking point videos, right, and just basically sell your black card to us for money, then we'll let you off the hook. You could make a lot of money. You could dig yourself out of that college debt. It's funny. She sat here and said, "Did I give up?" No, you gave up. You gave up your black card to these people to then pay for everything else. Yeah, you did it. You're a grifter. That's it. That's all you are. You're a grifter.
I also don't want Cornel West, Al Sharpton, or insert anyone else who uses their skin color to game the system as a role model.
Yeah, well, again, I don't think it's gaming the system when the system owes you things. I'm not saying the system owes you everything, but I'm saying that the system does in fact owe you some things, at least equality. And that's something we fight for every day.
I already have my grandfather. If there is one thing that my family...
Why does her grandfather have no gray in his beard? Anyway.
History has taught me. It's that I do not need a black card or an imaginary anything to make something of myself. For the record, my grandfather, now retired, lives in a home that he and my grandmother built on a plot of land they purchased in North Carolina. The very same sharecropping farm that he worked on as a small child. His story is unique. His story is beautiful. Because it's American. And that's the only card I've ever been interested in playing. I'm Candace Owens for Prager University.
Fuck yeah! Chug a beer, jump off a truck, American flag, freedom eagle, whatever the fuck else she's gonna say. I mean, yeah, again, as I already stated with Candace Owens, she is somebody who traded in her black card, and became a grifter. That's it. That's all there is to it. She is nothing more than that. She is a grifter. That's it. That's all I have for her. And that's all I have for you guys today. We are 5 minutes past the hour time, but I think I did start a little late, so I think that's okay. It's appropriate. If everybody's out there in the chat, I have not gotten to see how many people came in and viewed and talked and chatted and seen. But to everybody that came out, watched the stream, love y'all, man. Big loves, big loves. I wore the nice shirt for y'all. I hope you enjoyed this content. I just wanted to bring something that was a little different, give you a little reactionary taste, and also, combat some of these perspectives, because these perspectives are damaging, especially from the conservative side. I don't like to say that I'm a Democrat or any of those things. It's just that I just think that party seems to have more things right now going on, if that makes any sense. So anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Isaac, I love you. Thanks for all the blue hearts. The blue hearts that represent my shirt. You guys have a fantastic night. Stay beautiful and take care of yourselves. Bridging the gap. I'm out of here. Have a good night.